Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. Today is an exciting day. As you can see, the mulch ferry came last night. If you were like us, you live out in the middle of nowhere, and so chip drop does not service our area, which is a bummer because we could definitely use some mulch around the garden. But we do have family members that have connections to a local sawmill. And so mulch is kind of a unwanted byproduct in that situation. And so they get it for free, and they had used up all that they needed in their garden. And they said, hey, do you want some mulch for your strawberries? And I said, is that even a question? Absolutely. So they were kind enough to drop this off. And I was extra excited when I saw it because you see here, that was terrible camera action there, but this stuff it's like composted. It's great. It's going to be awesome to add to our raised beds because they have settled quite a bit from when we initially filled them up about a month or two ago. So there's quite a bit of gap between the top and the top of the soil. So I would like to get that filled in, and that'll definitely do the job. So we're going to be doing that tonight, but I'm especially excited because I still need to hill up my potatoes, and that's going to be great for that. The tomatoes could probably use a little bit of hilling up as well. But first, we need to feed everybody, so let's go do that. Whenever you have chicks, you want to make sure you are not filling up a water bowl all the way because they will definitely find a way to get in there and drown. So what I'm doing right now is only about a scoop of water, and I'm keeping this rock in here just in case one of them hops in there and needs help getting out. So that water, it's not so deep that they can't stand up in it and hopefully get up on that rock to hop out of it. We do have ducks, but they have free range to the pond. So if they need to clear their bills, they need to go out there. I don't want to risk losing any babies due to drowning. That's happened before, and it's not a good time. And they can also use the actual baby water, which is what they're doing now. It's been a minute since I've updated on my turkeys. These are big boys. These are bourbon reds. We've got 2 toms and 1 hen. And I was a little bit worried that that setup was going to be problematic here during breeding season this spring. But so far everything's been fine. I've not noticed any bad fighting or anything. She has started laying eggs. She's 1 year old now. I do wish she would actually build a nest though, so I could actually find them. She just kind of lays them wherever. I even found one in the water bowl once, so she's keeping things interesting for me. Ooh. I'm gonna give that one a little bit more time, but she's close. Oh, look at those. I think we're getting ready to produce some flowers. That's exciting. That didn't look like much mulch, but that was actually enough to add some to every single bed. So this is great. This will definitely help with weed control and also hopefully make us not have to water so much. One thing I didn't anticipate was how thirsty everything was going to get, like these petunias. Whenever you're doing container gardening, I definitely underestimated how water intensive that method of growing is. But yeah, this mulch and compost will definitely help. Hello again. It's a couple days later. If you're new here, we have full-time jobs, we have a toddler, and we homestead. So during the week, it's usually only about an hour's worth of work we can do a night, and then we got to call it quits. So it's the weekend now, so we can get back to it. In today's video, what I wanted to talk about was how are we saving money on our homestead this year, aside from utilizing freebies as the opportunity comes. Breakfast commotion. So 2022 is such a weird year because on one hand we have these outrageous gas prices and inflation causing everything to be more expensive. But at the same time we have, all this talk about upcoming food shortages and supply chain issues. So there's just so much uncertainty. with the increase in feed prices, I can understand how some people might be wanting to downsize to cut their costs. For us, we have about 70 birds on our property right now. I know for me personally, when the pandemic was just kicking off and all the shutdowns had just started and there was a ton of uncertainty still, I know having all of these guys out in the yard provided me with a ton of comfort. Just knowing that if things got really bad, we could just live off the eggs if we had to. You know, we've got fish in the pond, we've got eggs, we've got extra roosters we could butcher. If things really came down to it, we weren't going to starve to death if things got really, really bad. So that was a huge source of comfort for me. And so I don't want to downsize. We're going to try to make that be the last resort. And so with that, we are trying to save money where we can. And with the chickens specifically, there's a couple things that we're doing. Since feed is our biggest cost, we're doing a couple of things to try to just get more bang for our buck. The first thing, over winter, we tried to ferment our chicken food. People online were claiming that by fermenting, it decreased their feed costs in half. That was not my experience. There is value in fermenting feed though, guys. I found actual scientific studies online where they compare the nutrition in feed before and after fermenting, and fermenting does increase the nutritional value, but it does not double it, guys. So my chickens still ate the same amount, but they really liked it, but I'm a little bit skeptical of these claims that it cuts your feed bill in half. So just be careful of that. One thing we are doing right now, though, is sprouting fodder for our birds. So this is oat fodder. So the farm stores put their deer hunting stuff on clearance in the fall, and that includes those forage oats. So we always stock up and we just sprout it throughout the year. The birds really like it. It's a good way to diversify and give them some greens. And I have Trader Joe with me today, or Trader Josephine, which is what some of you are calling her. I've had a couple of requests to include her in videos so that people can see how she's doing. For those of you who haven't seen the video, I bought eggs from Trader Joe's, the grocery store, and I put them in the incubator, and she is what hatched out of those. So I'll link that video down below. It's a good time. If you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. But Trader Joe / Josephine is going to help me explain what else we're doing for the chickens this year, which is, you guys are so rude, which is I'm going to dedicate part of my fall garden specifically to growing food for the chickens. We are stocking up on butternut squash seeds and kale seeds, and we're going to grow those. This is going to be our first year growing them. Butternut squash stores really well if stored properly. So hopefully if we get a good crop of it, we'll be able to feed that throughout winter to the chickens. They love it. All right, Trader Joe, I'm gonna put you back in with your sisters. Another thing that's kind of serendipitous that we're doing this year is we're actually going to be able to combine a couple of coops so more birds are able to free range. We have breeding pens, and so you can't release roosters that weren't raised together. They'll try to kill each other. So not everybody's able to free range every single day. But we actually have a couple of golden death layers that have gotten extremely aggressive. They've always been really flighty. You can tell that breed just isn't domesticated like my Wyandottes or my Orpingtons are. Now it's to the point where I can't even go in there to replace their water without them trying to flog me. My 1-year-old son is almost always with me whenever I'm feeding. So at this point, it's become a safety hazard. I know people have different opinions on culling roosters for aggression. That's okay, you're entitled to your opinion just as I'm entitled to mine, but I'm not gonna risk my son losing an eye over a couple of roosters when I have 5 other roosters on the property that are completely sweet. I've never had an issue with them at all. So those 2 roosters have to go. The 8 hens that are with them are gonna get moved into our main coop that you just saw. And the ducks that are in the main coop, they're gonna get moved into the old death layer pen. So everybody's getting combined and separated in between chickens and ducks. I think everyone's gonna be happier that way. And that way I'll be able to release everybody to free range on the same day and not have to worry about roosters fighting. Another thing we're doing for those guys is we're trying to utilize some rotational pastures for the horses. Hay is a huge cost for us every year. I think we spend around $1,500 to get them enough hay to last them through the winter. And so for that buffer period, early spring and early fall, where we're kind of transitioning into and from pasture to hay, I want to be able to increase the amount of pasture they have access to so we don't have to use up so much hay because, for 2 horses, it's between $5 and $10 a day in hay costs. So that adds up pretty quick. And also with gas prices, if we don't have to mow as much, that'd be great too. So we're utilizing those little plastic white step-in fence posts as temporary fencing. Now, obviously, guys, this is not a sturdy setup. You have to use some common sense if you're going to do this. You know, these are not 2-year-old studs that we're putting out here. They're 18-year-old mares with a very well-established pecking order. And they've been trained to this electric fence already. So, and you know, we don't live next to a highway or anything like that. Our in-ground garden is coming along really nicely. You can see those are our bush beans. Those are our corn. I've got a line of sunflower seeds, black oil sunflower seeds, and they haven't been eaten yet, so that's good. Those are usually the first things that get beheaded. And the potatoes are coming up really nicely too. Those are all Pontiac red potatoes. They do really well in our clay soil. The weeds in between the rows are doing great too. Come on, gooses. Let's go. Keep her moving. Another thing I've been doing lately is stocking up on canning jars and canning jar lids now, because as the year goes on, you know, they're going to start jacking up the prices, and we also don't know if there's going to be a shortage of those things. So stock up now. Actually, if you have a Meijer nearby, in their app, they've been having 20% off ball and like $10 or $20 off a $75 purchase coupons. And so if you use those together, 12 pack of jars have been less than $8 a piece. That is much cheaper than anywhere else in my area. So look into that. So you guys, those are the things that we are doing right now to try and cut costs. I'm sure as the year goes on, we'll be adding more things to those lists, but hopefully we don't have to. Hopefully as the summer goes on, you know, gas prices will go back down and inflation will simmer down a little bit. But our policy here is anticipate the worst, but hope for the best. So comment down below, guys, and let me know what you're doing right now to save money on your homestead. I would love to see the comment section just be a huge idea sharing forum. That's one of the great things about YouTube is the community and being able to share your ideas. I would love to read your comments. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.